Discovery of Earth. Chief Researcher Zixtal of the Galactic Classification Bureau stared at the holographic display with all four of his optical sensors dilated in disbelief. The data streaming before him defied every classification protocol his species had developed over 10,000 years of interstellar exploration. "Run the atmospheric analysis again," he commanded, his crystalline appendages clicking against the control panel. His assistant, Krithi, a methane-breathing entity, double-checked the readings through her environmental suit. "Sir, I've run it 12 times now. The results remain consistent. The planet designated Earth contains simultaneous extreme variations that should make complex life impossible." The data was undeniable. Vast temperature swings from polar regions to equatorial zones, atmospheric pressure variations that would crush most species, constant tectonic activity, regular electromagnetic storms, aggressive microorganisms everywhere, high gravity, radiation from their star. And yet, "Show me the population data again," Zixtal requested, though he had memorized it by now. The hologram shifted to display billions of life signs, concentrated in sprawling metropolises and scattered across nearly every habitable, and some supposedly uninhabitable, region of the planet. The dominant species, self-named humans, hadn't just survived in this death trap. They have flourished. "What I find most perplexing," Krithi noted, "is their adaptability. Look at this human settlement in what they call Siberia. Average temperature -40 degrees. Then here," she gestured to another location, Death Valley, +50 degrees. Same species, living in both places. Zixtal's crystalline form shimmered with excitement. In his centuries of research, he had never encountered anything like this. Most species evolved to survive within a narrow band of environmental conditions. Humans, somehow, had developed the ability to survive almost anywhere on their volatile world. "Their physical resilience is remarkable," he continued, pulling up medical data their observation probes had collected. "They can survive the loss of limbs, massive blood loss, crushing injuries, radiation exposure. Their bodies seem designed to endure trauma that would instantly kill most species." The implications were staggering. According to all established cynobiological principles, humans should not exist. Their planet was too hostile, their bodies too fragile compared to many species, and yet they had not only survived but had become the dominant species on their world. "Sir," Krithi interrupted his thoughts, "you need to see this psychological analysis." The new data made Zixtal's crystalline structure vibrate with shock. Humans didn't just survive physical trauma. They often emerged stronger from it. They had a concept they called resilience that went beyond mere survival. They actively sought out challenges, deliberately exposed themselves to controlled danger, and celebrated those who pushed the boundaries of what was possible. "Look at their entertainment," Krithi pointed out. "They simulate dangerous situations for pleasure. They deliberately trigger their fear responses through activities they call sports and extreme sports. They appear to derive satisfaction from surviving scenarios that should traumatize them." Zixtal began composing his report to the Galactic Council, knowing it would cause a sensation. Earth wasn't just another life-bearing world. It was something unprecedented in galactic history, a planet that should be classified as uninhabitable, yet had produced a species that thrived on adversity. "Add this to the report," he instructed Krithi. "Preliminary classification. Death World Level 12. Note: current classification system inadequate. Recommend creation of new category. The human species appears to have been forged by their world's hostile conditions into something unique in our records, a species that doesn't merely adapt to survive adversity, but appears to grow stronger because of it." As he finished the report, a notification flashed across his screen. Their long-range sensors had detected human vessels starting to venture beyond their solar system. Soon, humanity would make first contact with the galactic community. Zixtal felt a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "One final note for the report," he added. "Urgent recommendation. Update first contact protocols. Standard procedures may be inadequate for a species evolved from a death world. These humans are not merely survivors. They are warriors forged in the crucible of one of the most hostile environments we've ever studied, and they're coming to meet the rest of the galaxy. Criffy's environmental suit vented a small puff of methane, her species' equivalent of a nervous laugh. Perhaps we should warn the galaxy instead. Zixtal's crystalline form pulsed with what passed for amusement among his kind. Warn them. My dear Criffy, I believe we're about to witness the beginning of a new era in galactic history. The question isn't whether the galaxy is ready for humans. The question is, are humans ready to discover just how unique they truly are? The two researchers continued their observation of Earth, knowing they were witnessing something unprecedented in galactic history. The emergence of a species that had turned one of the galaxy's most hostile worlds into their strength. The age of humanity was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. The testing phase. Field observer Mirax adjusted her quantum camouflage as she watched a group of humans battle what they called a wildfire in the region designated as California. Her environmental shields were at maximum, protecting her from temperatures that would instantly vaporize most species, yet these humans pushed forward with nothing but insulated clothing and portable breathing apparatus. Central, are you recording this? She transmitted, her voice carrying notes of astonishment. They're not retreating. They're moving towards the fire. Confirmed, observer Mirax, came the response from the orbital research station. This behavior matches previous observations. Humans exhibit a consistent pattern of confronting natural disasters rather than evacuating. The scene before her defied logic. The humans had established what they called a fire line, actively fighting against one of the most destructive forces in nature. Their tactics showed not just courage, but complex strategic thinking. They weren't simply reacting to the disaster. They were outmaneuvering it. New data point, she reported, watching a team of firefighters create a controlled burn to stop the wildfire's advance. They're using fire to fight fire. This shows an understanding of natural forces that goes beyond mere survival. Her mission had started 3 months ago, part of the Galactic Council's comprehensive study of human resilience. Teams of observers had been dispatched worldwide, documenting human responses to various challenges. The results had consistently amazed the research team. In the Arctic, humans had established research stations in conditions that would freeze most species solid. In the depths of their oceans, they built submarines that withstood pressures that would crush standard starship hulls. In their deserts, they created flourishing cities through innovative water management. Central, requesting permission to share an analytical observation. Mirax transmitted as she watched the firefighters finally contain the blaze. Proceed, observer. We've been approaching this study from the wrong perspective. We keep asking how humans survive these conditions. I believe we should be asking why they choose to live in them at all. They have the technology to create controlled environments, yet they deliberately maintain settlements in hazardous zones. The response took longer this time, suggesting her observation had triggered discussion among the research team. Elaborate, observer. Look at their pattern of expansion. When they encounter a hostile environment, their first instinct isn't to avoid it. It's to figure out how to thrive in it. The more challenging the environment, the more determined they seem to become. She shifted her position, following a group of firefighters as they began their post-fire assessment. Their faces were streaked with soot, their bodies showing signs of exhaustion, yet their expression showed something the alien observers had come to recognize as satisfaction. Central, on forwarding psychological readings from the human firefighters. Note the elevated levels of neurotransmitters associated with positive emotions. They're not just enduring these challenges, they're drawing fulfillment from overcoming them. The implications were profound. Humanity hadn't just adapted to survive on a death world. They had developed a cultural and psychological framework that turned adversity into advantage. Every challenge they faced became a lesson, every disaster an opportunity to improve their response. New theoretical framework proposed. Mirax transmitted. Humans don't survive despite their world's hostility. They survive because of it. The constant challenges have driven their evolution, both biological and cultural, in unique directions. She watched as the firefighters began preparing for their next deployment. They showed no signs of trauma, no hesitation about facing similar dangers again. Instead, they were already discussing improvements to their tactics, analyzing their performance, preparing for the next challenge. Central, requesting permission to expand study parameters. I believe we need to look at human educational and training systems. Their ability to pass on survival knowledge, to deliberately prepare for disasters, appears to be a crucial factor in their species' resilience. The approval came quickly. The Galactic Council was becoming increasingly interested in understanding not just how humans survived, but how they had built an entire civilization around the concept of overcoming seemingly impossible challenges. Over the next few weeks, Mirax observed human training facilities, emergency response centers, and educational institutions. She watched as they deliberately simulated disasters, practiced responses, and continuously refined their techniques. It was a level of preparation unprecedented among known species. Final observation for today's report. She transmitted as she watched a group of young humans participating in what they called disaster preparedness training. Humans don't just accept the dangerous nature of their world. They actively prepare future generations to face it. They've turned survival into a science, resilience into an art form. As she prepared to end her observation shift, Mirax added one last note to her report. Recommendation: update Galactic Council protocols regarding human integration into the wider galaxy. Any species that treats a death world as a training ground will likely view the challenges of interstellar civilization very differently than we initially assumed. The question isn't whether humans can survive in the galaxy. It's whether the galaxy is prepared for a species that thrives on overcoming the impossible. The data from her observations would join thousands of others, building a picture of a species that had turned their world's hostility into their greatest strength. The galaxy was about to meet a civilization forged in fire, tested by adversity, and strengthened by challenges that would have destroyed most species. The age of humanity was approaching, and it promised to be unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. The challenge. Supreme Commander Vexthor of the Drachnid Empire sneered at the holographic display showing Earth. His serpentine features twisted with contempt as he addressed his war council. These humans are nothing but soft-bodied creatures from an unimportant world, he hissed, his scaled tail twitching with anticipation. The Galactic Council wastes resources studying them when we should be conquering them. His chief strategist, Corell, attempted to interject. Supreme Commander, the research data suggests. Data. Vexthor cut him off with a dismissive gesture. I see a species without natural armor, without venomous capabilities, without significant physical strength. Their only achievement is surviving on their volatile planet, and now they dare to venture into space. The War Council chamber fell silent. The Drachnid Empire had dominated their sector of space for centuries, their naturally armored bodies and advanced biotechnology making them formidable warriors. The emergence of humanity as a spacefaring race was seen as an affront to their supremacy. Launch the first strike, Vexthor commanded. Show these humans what real warriors are capable of. The attack came without warning. Drachnid warships emerged from hyperspace near Earth's major population centers, their bioorganic hulls bristling with weapons. The Empire expected a swift surrender from what they perceived as a primitive species. They were wrong. Within minutes of the first Drachnid ship appearing over New York, humanity's response began. Instead of panic, there was organization. Instead of surrender, there was defiance. The humans had contingency plans not just for natural disasters, but for alien invasion. Impossible. Vexthor raged as the first reports came in. Human military forces were adapting to Drachnid tactics with unprecedented speed. Their weapons, while technologically inferior, were being used with devastating creativity. Sir, Corell reported, his scales pale with concern, The humans are using our own atmospheric entry trails to track our cloaked ships. They've already developed countermeasures to our basic attack patterns. But it was more than just military response. Civilian populations were organizing with remarkable efficiency. Underground shelters, long maintained for natural disasters, were being repurposed. Communications networks, hardened against solar flares and electromagnetic pulses, remained operational despite Drachnid attempts to disable them. They're not fighting like a primitive species, Corell observed, studying the battle data. They're fighting like they've been preparing for this their entire history. The truth dawned slowly on the Drachnid command. Every hardship Earth had thrown at humanity had been a lesson. Every disaster had been practice. Every challenge had prepared them for this moment. New tactical analysis, Corell announced, his voice trembling. The humans are using their planet's extreme conditions against us. They're forcing our ships into regions with severe weather patterns, using their knowledge of atmospheric turbulence to disrupt our formations. Vexthor watched in growing horror as human forces lured Drachnid ships into traps using their intimate knowledge of Earth's geography. Ships were lost in mountainous regions where magnetic interference disrupted their navigation. Others were damaged by extreme temperature variations that the humans had learned to predict and exploit. "Sir," a communications officer interrupted, "the humans are broadcasting a message to all our frequencies." The holographic display flickered, showing a human military commander. Their soft features betrayed no fear, only grim determination. "Drachnid Empire," the humans spoke, their voice translated by AI systems. "You made a crucial mistake. You saw our world as a death trap and assumed it made us weak. You didn't understand that it made us strong. Every earthquake taught us to adapt. Every hurricane showed us how to endure. Every volcanic eruption proved we could rise from the ashes." The humans' eyes hardened. "We didn't just survive our world. We learned from it. And now, you'll learn from us." Reports flooded in from across the globe. Human forces were not just defending. They were launching counterattacks. Their tactics were unpredictable, combining their technological capabilities with strategies born from millennia of surviving Earth's challenges. "Supreme Commander," Corell said quietly, "we need to retreat. The humans, they're not just fighting us. They're getting better at it with each engagement. They're learning our weaknesses faster than we can exploit theirs." Vexthor's pride warred with his tactical sense. The humans weren't supposed to be capable of this level of resistance. Their bodies were soft, their technology primitive. But their minds, they're communicating with the Galactic Council, a sensor operator reported. Other species are responding to their calls for alliance. They're sharing our tactical data with potential allies. The implications were clear. The Drachnid Empire had inadvertently given humanity the one thing they needed to prove themselves to the galaxy, a chance to show what they were truly capable of when challenged. "Full retreat," Vexthor finally ordered, his voice hollow. "We underestimated them. We saw their world as a prison, never understanding it was a forge. We thought their survival was luck, never realizing it was skill." As the Drachnid fleet withdrew, Earth's defenders began sharing their experiences, analyzing the battle data, preparing for future conflicts. They had faced their first interstellar threat and emerged stronger, just as they had with every challenge their world had thrown at them. The galaxy would never again mistake human resilience for weakness. The species forged in Earth's crucible had proven they could face any threat, adapt to any challenge, and emerge stronger from any conflict. The age of humanity wasn't just beginning. It was announcing itself with a victory that would echo across the stars. Unexpected allies. Ambassador Elena Chen stood before the Galactic Council, her posture straight and confident despite the gravity of the situation. The Grand Chamber, designed to accommodate representatives of every spacefaring species, hummed with anticipation. The defeat of the Drachnid invasion had caught the attention of the entire galaxy. "Honorable Council," Elena began, her voice clear and steady. "Humanity didn't come here today to ask for protection. We came to offer partnership. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of translated discussions. High Counselor Zarvan, an energy being contained within a crystalline matrix, raised an appendage for silence. Partnership. Zarvan's thoughts translated into all known languages. Your species has only recently achieved spacefaring status. The Drachnid attack, while impressively repelled, has exposed your technological limitations. Elena smiled, an expression that many alien species were still learning to interpret. With respect, High Counselor, technology isn't everything. Humanity brings something else to the galaxy: experience in overcoming impossible odds. She gestured, and holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing scenes from Earth's history, natural disasters, technological catastrophes, climate challenges, and humanity's responses to each. Every species here evolved on worlds that were comfortable for them. Elena continued, "You adapted to your environments over millions of years, but Earth never let us adapt. It forced us to innovate, to overcome, to think differently about survival itself." The displays shifted to show the recent battle with the Drachnids. Human tactics, seemingly chaotic at first glance, revealed complex patterns of adaptation and innovation. "Look at how your species handled the Drachnid threat," commented Council Member Ixel, a methane-breathing entity. "Your military forces displayed remarkable tactical flexibility." "Because that's what Earth taught us," Elena explained. "When you live on a world that can kill you in 1,000 different ways, you learn to adapt quickly. You learn to see opportunities and challenges. You learn that survival isn't about being the strongest. It's about being the most resourceful." The chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just another emerging species seeking protection. They were offering a new perspective on survival itself. "Several species have already approached us for joint military training," Elena continued. "The Arxians want to learn our disaster response protocols. The Centaurians are interested in our environmental adaptation techniques. Even the Vorkath, who rarely leave their gas giant habitats, have expressed interest in our ability to function in varying atmospheric conditions." High Counselor Zarvan's crystalline form pulsed with interest. "You propose a mutual exchange of knowledge." "More than that," Elena replied. "We propose a new kind of alliance, one where each species contributes their unique strengths. Your advanced technology combined with our adaptability and resilience. Your established interstellar civilization, enhanced by our experience in overcoming seemingly impossible challenges." The displays showed new images: human engineers working with alien scientists, military trainers from Earth teaching adaptation techniques to other species' forces, joint research projects combining advanced technology with human innovation. "The Drachnids saw our world as a prison," Elena said, her voice carrying conviction. "They thought its harsh conditions made us weak. They didn't understand that Earth wasn't our prison. It was our teacher. Every earthquake taught us to build stronger. Every storm showed us how to bend without breaking. Every volcanic eruption proved that destruction can lead to renewal." Council Member Texrax, a silicon-based life form, spoke up. "Your species' psychological profile is unique. You don't just survive challenges. You actively seek them out." Elena nodded. "Because we learned that every challenge overcome makes us stronger." Now imagine that mindset applied to the challenges facing the galaxy. Imagine combining your advanced technology with our unique approach to problem solving. The chamber buzzed with discussion. The concept was unprecedented. Most species joined the Galactic Council seeking protection or trade advantages. Humanity was offering something different, a new way of thinking about survival itself. Already, joint human-alien ventures are showing promising results. Elena continued, "Our approach to adaptation is being successfully combined with advanced alien technology. Our disaster response protocols are being integrated into planetary defense systems. Our survival strategies are enhancing space exploration capabilities." High Counselor Zarvan's form pulsed with what translated as approval. "Your proposal has merit. Ambassador Chen. But such partnerships will require trust on all sides. Trust is earned through shared challenges, Alina responded. Earth taught us that too. When you face death together, you learn to rely on each other. The Drachnid attack proved that humanity can work with other species. Now we have a chance to build something greater. An alliance that combines the best of all our capabilities. As the council moved to deliberate, Alina's final words resonated through the chamber. We are the children of Earth, forged in the crucible of a death world. We don't just survive. We learn, we adapt, we grow stronger. And now we offer that strength to the galaxy. Together, we can face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and emerge stronger than ever. The galaxy was about to change. The species that had turned survival into an art form was ready to share its lessons with the stars. The age of human innovation was beginning, and with it, a new era of interstellar cooperation that would reshape the very nature of galactic civilization. The ultimate proving ground. The emergency alert echoed through the halls of the Galactic Council's Central Command Center. Captain Sarah Martins of the Earth Defense Force stood shoulder to shoulder with representatives from 20 different species as they watched the horror unfold on the main display. The Void Swarm, a phenomenon that had destroyed civilizations in the ancient past, had returned. A massive cloud of energy-consuming entities was moving through the galaxy, leaving dead worlds in its wake. Conventional weapons are ineffective, reported Admiral Kextel of the Arxian Fleet. The swarm adapts to each attack pattern we use. 3 solar systems have already gone dark. Sarah watched the tactical display, her mind racing with possibilities. The swarm's behavior reminded her of something she'd seen before, on Earth. This movement pattern, she said, stepping forward. It's similar to how wildfire spreads under changing wind conditions. The swarm is following energy gradients, just like fire follows fuel sources. The alien commanders turned to her, their various sensory organs focusing with interest. Over the past year, humanity's unique perspective had proven valuable in countless situations. Explain, Captain, High Commander Zaravan requested. Sarah manipulated the holographic display. On Earth, we learned to fight wildfires by understanding how they think, if you can call it thinking. They're like living organisms, seeking the path of least resistance, following energy patterns. The Void Swarm is doing the same thing, just on a galactic scale. She highlighted several star systems. Look at the pattern. They're not just consuming energy randomly. They're following the paths of highest energy efficiency, just like a fire seeks the most flammable materials. Fascinating comparison, Admiral Kextel noted, but how does this help us fight them? Sarah smiled grimly. On Earth, when a fire gets too big to fight directly, we fight it with fire. We create backburns, controlled fires that consume the fuel before the main fire arrives. What if we did the same thing here, but with energy? The command center erupted in discussion. The idea was radical, but humanity's unconventional solutions had saved lives before. We could create an energy vacuum, suggested Chief Scientist Ixtel, catching on to the concept. Use our most advanced chips to consume or redirect energy in specific patterns, creating dead zones the swarm would have to avoid. More than that, Sarah added, we can herd them. Like we do with wildfires, we can create conditions that force them to move in specific directions, lead them into prepared traps. The plan took shape quickly. Human tactical experts who had fought natural disasters on Earth worked with alien scientists to adapt their strategies to a cosmic scale. Ships were repositioned, energy patterns were modified, and trap zones were prepared. It's working, reported a sensor operator. The Void Swarm was following their carefully crafted energy gradients, moving away from populated systems and toward a massive gravity well where their energy would be dispersed harmlessly. But the swarm was intelligent. It began to adapt, trying to break through their energy barriers. That's when humanity's second lesson from Earth proved vital. In disaster response, we learned that you can't stick to one strategy, Sarah explained. You have to be as adaptable as the threat you're fighting. Every time the swarm adapts, we need to change our approach. The battle became a dance of adaptation. Human intuition, born from generations of fighting an ever-changing death world, combined with advanced alien technology to create an unprecedented defense strategy. When the swarm adapted to one approach, they switched to another, never following the same pattern twice. They're learning from us, Admiral Kextal observed, but we're learning faster. Hours turned into days as the combined fleet maneuvered the swarm, using every trick humanity had learned from fighting natural disasters on Earth. They created energy decoys, like firefighters using controlled burns. They established containment zones, like building fire breaks. They predicted the swarm's movements by understanding its basic drives, just as they had learned to predict the behavior of earthquakes, storms, and fires. Finally, after a week of constant adaptation and relentless effort, the swarm was contained. The combined knowledge of humanity's death world experience and the advanced technology of the galactic community had achieved what neither could have done alone. In the aftermath, as the fleet regrouped and began helping affected systems recover, High Commander Zaravan addressed the assembled forces. Today marks a turning point in galactic history. The commander's words translated across all frequencies. The union of humanity's unique perspective with our combined technological achievement has proven more powerful than either alone. The lessons learned on one death world have helped save countless worlds across the galaxy. Sarah stood with her fellow commanders, human and alien alike, as they began planning for future threats. The galaxy was a dangerous place, but they had proven that together they could face any challenge. Earth taught us that survival isn't about being the strongest, she reflected. It's about being the most adaptable, the most innovative, and most importantly, about working together to overcome impossible odds. The galactic community had changed forever. Humanity's experience on their death world had proven to be not just a source of strength, but a wellspring of wisdom that would help protect all species. The warriors forged in Earth's crucible had proven their worth not through conquest, but through protection, innovation, and the unshakable determination to survive that only a death world could instill. As the combined fleet set course for home, Sarah knew that this was just the beginning. There would be more challenges, more threats, more seemingly impossible situations, but now the galaxy faced them together, stronger for the lessons learned on a single death world that had forged humanity into something extraordinary. The age of cooperation between death world warriors and a galactic community had begun, and the universe would never be the same.